Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm Connie, and we are here for another reaction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. This time episodes 23 and 24. So, this will finish off this batch. The next batch of episodes is coming at the beginning of December, but we're probably not going to get to it right away because of other stuff we're just going to be reacting to. And I think I want to hold off a little bit before the next batch. Just give it a little bit of a break to just rest, especially because the second half of this batch has not been that great, in my opinion. It's just done a lot of things that, for me, is not good. And obviously, it's all subjective. It's all opinion. If you liked this batch, including the second half episodes, that's completely fine. I just felt like it didn't work in a lot of cases. There's a lot of things that were just like a little too weird and weren't really given a reason to be that weird. And there were things that just narratively, in my eyes, just didn't work, or even character-wise, such as, completely destroying FF's character in the end. It's like, oh, we're going to kill off FF as a character, but we're not going to do anything to make them look good before we do. In fact, we're going to make them look like shit and just absolutely, like, make them come across as useless beforehand. And it's like, if you wanted to make FF come across as useless in order to show how strong the opponent is, there's better ways to handle it. Because FF, again, did not even get to finish their own fight against the dragon dude. And then on top of that, they didn't even get any semblance of victory or really anything after that. And as I've basically stated, if they at least got to win their fight against the dragon dude and got that victory themselves without Anasui stealing the win, then them being outmatched by Pucci would have been fine, because at least they wouldn't have gone out without really having any real victory at all in this batch of episodes. It's like Hermes got a big victory, and FF was basically just thrown in the trash this batch. They were such a fascinating, great character in the first batch, and then it just kind of... I don't know if Araki just didn't like writing them, but if this is accurate to the manga, which it probably is, Araki really dropped the ball with them in the end. And it really keeps them from being that great of a character, overall. It's really disappointing. But I've rambled and ranted on all of that long enough by this point, in previous videos and everything. So we're just going to get on with this reaction. We have 2 episodes to get through here, and not a lot of time to do it today. Unfortunately, I've been procrastinating a lot this week as of the week I'm recording this. And because of that, it's given me very little time to get to stuff as I would like. A lot less time than I would like. You know what I mean. Either way, we're just going to hope for the best here. So, when we get to the episodes, let's hope to God that it at least ends well. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. And so there we have it. The end of the second batch and the escape. We have finally broken out of the prison with the help of the enemy, funny enough. And it makes sense that the final enemy within the prison would be the head guard. That just kind of makes sense. That kind of works. But my biggest hope for this finale was that it would turn things around. Because as I mentioned, a lot of the second half had been just not great for me. I wouldn't necessarily call it all terrible, but it was getting to the point of being pretty bad. And again, especially with the handling of FF and everything, it just really did. It really did bother me how it was all handled. And again, it could. I've talked about in the past how it could have been fixed, so I'm not going to go over it all again here. But it's just, it would have been a lot better if FF had just been handled better in the end. But as for where these final two episodes, the finale of the batch and the final story, I guess, segment of this batch of episodes, how did it leave off? Very, very fucking well, actually. This was a very strong finale to this batch of episodes. It was really good, really investing. It's like, even if this wasn't the final episodes of the batch, I would have watched both of those together. Without question, after that first episode, I would not have been able to stop. I would have continued on anyways, even if this wasn't the final episodes in the batch. But this was kind of one of the strongest stands I think we've seen, period, I would say. Just in terms of its ability, and in terms of how OP it is. Like, as Mew Mew herself said it, it's kind of worse than if you just had no memories anymore. If like you had full amnesia. The ability to only have 3 memories at a time and then forgetting everything after that, and basically starting over from scratch, is terrible. And it makes it almost impossible, because any three things will reset it. After any 3 new bits of information, it'll be reset every time. And that can be manipulated in so many ways. Mew Mew, we saw in these episodes, we saw her manipulating it just by bringing in other guards or showcasing different things around her, such as the D12 block sign on the wall. Like, even that was a new piece of information that would continue the loop. And while not maybe as physically strong as other stands or whatnot, it's all in how the ability is utilized, and Mew Mew utilized it exceptionally well. The only reason that Jolene was able to defeat her in the end was through the help of Emporio, and they had to work together. They had to work together and utilize basic trickery to basically confirm that Mew Mew was the enemy for Jolene. Once she remembered Mew Mew in the first place and knew Mew Mew was the enemy right away, it clicked with her, and instead of gaining any new information, she just beat the shit out of her in one go. Because Mew Mew wasn't strong at all. She wasn't physically strong at all. Well, okay, I can't say at all, but in terms of physical strength, that wasn't her strong suit. It was definitely her mind and her cunningness. And I like stand users who use ability in a cunning, manipulative way, because it makes them stand out more than just, oh, this person is strong, they punch good. And it's like, that's all fine and good every now and then, but I prefer the ones who are more unique and interesting. And she was definitely very interesting. Like, at first we think she's another prisoner, but then soon find out that she's actually the chief guard, which is like a huge deal in and of itself. And then, like, we see how, like, manipulative and cunning and just smart in general she can be, and how she utilizes that to the best of her ability to basically stop her opponents from being able to do anything. It's wonderful, honestly. It's absolutely fantastic. Not to mention her design as a villain is pretty damn good. Like, just in case, I'm gonna mute this. But let me see if I can try to find like a really good view of it here. It said like she's about like 5'7" and some change. But honestly, I almost want to call bullshit on that, because this lady is pretty jacked. Like, there's obviously in JoJo a lot of the characters are jacked, a lot of the characters are big or buff or whatnot. Even female characters like Jolene and Hermes, I guess you could say. Even FF, all three of them, though FF non-binary, but still, I guess you could say Atroe's body. So you could technically say Atroe was buff as well. But you look at, and maybe she is shorter than she looks, but they make her seem big. And in terms of build, she is definitely buff. She definitely has a large build. You could see the broad shoulders in her design. You can see you can see how built she is. Also, there's a couple scenes where you can also see she has pretty large tits. It's like there's a couple scenes that honestly do kind of emphasize them. Like, there's one scene here where she's like maybe a third of the way through, where the way she's standing, she's explaining stuff, she's holding her arm like under her breasts like that, and it's really accentuating the size of them. And it's like, okay. But either way, you can very much see she has a pretty large build. The hair being so wild and like all over the place, like, obviously you can make that look good for a character. You can make wild, unruly hair look attractive. And honestly, I think they kind of succeeded in that. Like, they made her have a memorable design and also made her kind of attractive, in my opinion. She also has like notable makeup, which stands out, like, because it's notable makeup outside of just the greenish yellow. Okay, I need to find a shot that's not like in the special coloring, because you know how JoJo goes with sometimes the coloring is specially handled to where it's like, oh, that's not what they're actually colored like. Okay, it's pink. It's like a pinkish purple normally. She has like these darkish pink lipstick on, but then like has like pink winged eyeliner and stuff. It's like it's very noticeable in terms of the design of her makeup. And or eyeshadow, not I said eyeliner, but I meant eyeshadow. And then with her outfit, like being the tight pink guard top with the pants and the belt and everything, it's like, it's just a wonderful design. I don't give a shit. I'll simp after her a little bit. But obviously, even outside of just the wonderful stand and the battle we got, there's also some notable moments in this finale focused on and starring our main heroes. We get to see Hermes again after quite a while, and we get to see her find out about FF's death. And she is obviously staying strong while Emporio's there, but then you like see later how she pours one out for FF, pours a glass of water out the window for her, and it's like you know she misses them. You know that she really wishes FF didn't have to die, and that's fair. We know Jolene was really upset by it, and yeah, it makes sense that Hermes would be too, even if she's not the most blatant at showing it. I'm completely fine with that. I think that was a good way to honor FF's character, even if again their character went out really poorly. But it was also a good way to show Hermes finding out about that and to kind of move it into the next stage of things. And that's where we're going. And yeah, so the next stage of things, we see that again, Hermes, Emporio, and Jolene are to break out of the prison. I don't know if they're going to bring Weather Report or Anasui with them. Because Weather Report was hiding in his cell, and Anasui is in the medical wing still. But I guess we'll see. Weather Report might blame himself for FF's death based on what we saw. So that might be why he's been hiding away. And Anasui might just not be in good shape to go anywhere at the moment. But we'll see. We'll see. Honestly, if it just had to be the three of them, just Jolene, Emporio, and Hermes, I'd be fine with that. Or even if they could only bring one of the other two, I would definitely rather have it be Weather Report because I don't like Anasui. Like, it's one of those rare occasions where there's a character of the main JoJo group that I just actively do not like. Like, even with Part 5, it's like, oh, Fugo's kind of a pointless character, but it's not that I didn't like him. I just felt like he was underutilized. And Abakio, it's like I grew to like him a lot more than I did at the beginning. And mind you, he was still one of my least favorite, but still. But with this, it's like I don't like Anasui at all. I really can't stand him. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the start of the next batch, if they got both Anasui and Weather Report to join them as well. That wouldn't be surprising to me. But we also see Father Pucci. And we see that his plan has seemingly gone off really well. He has absorbed the green baby into himself, which, as we find out later, seems to have evolved his stand. We kind of find out that the green baby is, well, through all of this that had happened, kind of a resurrected Dio in a way, but also kind of not. It's complicated, it's weird, it's bizarre, but in a way that fits this series very notably. It's kind of a resurrected Dio, but also, again, kind of not. So it's like his powers, I guess, maybe have combined with the powers that Pucci already had. So his stand has evolved and gained time-based abilities, but we don't know the full extent of that yet. But we do see it in action as he manipulates the watch on this lady's hand, as well as causes the eggs that she had almost dropped, that he had caught for her, to, you know, turn into like chicks and hatch and everything. And it's like, oh, that's got to be more than time manipulation, though, then, because there's a lot more that goes into like making eggs like edible, right? Than if you just like you can't just take an egg from a chicken coop and eat that, right? Can you? Maybe you can. But if you also have eggs for too long in your fridge, it's not like they're going to turn into a baby chick. That's not how it works. Now I'm confusing myself. I don't know. If anyone knows anything more about that shit than I do, please try to correct me. But yeah, either way, he definitely manipulated time and maybe some other things, but um, we're definitely going to learn more about that in the next episode. And I think there's going to be like 37 episodes total, I think is what they said. So the next set will be again around 12 episodes. So 12 or 13 episodes, 12 or 13 episodes. It's something like that. It's the next batch is going to be 12 or 13 episodes as well. So it's like, is there really going to be that much more? Is Poochie going to send other stand users to face them? Or is there going to be something else going on? It's kind of it's almost a little surprising that FF died this early. There's an entire another batch to go, and it just seems very early for a main character to die. I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see where it goes. But I'm pretty damn excited. Like, I was starting to lose a lot of my excitement over this series with how these recent episodes are going, but this finale reinvigorated it for sure. But like I said, we are going to be taking a break just because well, obviously there's some time before it starts at the beginning of December. But even so, I'm not going to start it right away at the beginning of December because I want to just kind of let this all soak in, I want to say. So we're going to take a bit and let it kind of do so. But that raises the question of, will anything replace this? And the answer is simply no. With this finishing up, it is going to be just completely left off, and Dead End will take the Friday spot all to itself. So Stone Ocean will not be replaced by anything, to put it simply. But yeah, we will be getting to the next batch, of course. It's just not going to likely be right away. But I'm, again, very interested to see where this goes in this final part, this final batch of episodes for part 6. If I were to still rank this amongst all of the parts, this would still be my third favorite, I would say. Number 2 is still Vento Arreo or Golden Wind, and number 1 is still Diamond is Unbreakable. It has not surpassed either of those for me, but this final batch of episodes will determine if it does. Overall, Jolene is my second favorite JoJo. After Josuke, I still like Josuke just a little bit more. But Jolene could easily surpass that, and honestly, I think she will. And in terms of my favorite character from this part still being Hermes, that is still completely true. And I'd say she's up there with my favorite characters of the entire series, up there with the likes of Narancia and Kira and Josuke and whatnot. I just don't know exactly where she'd be in there. As for Poochie as a villain, I love his connection to Dio, and I love just his personality and everything, and even his stand, or what his stand used to be. But in terms of like overall impact, I'm not feeling it as much as I did with the likes of Kira or oh my god, what is his name? From part 5, the boss. I keep thinking just Doppio, and I know that's like not the boss. Doppio is the other personality. God, I can't think of it. You know who I'm talking about. But he's not as memorable as those two. He's not as memorable as even Dio. And Dio, honestly, while very popular amongst the overall fan base, I think is extremely overrated. Um, I think Dio's actually one of the weakest, if not the weakest main villain, honestly. And it's nothing against, I still like Dio. I very much like Dio, but just in terms of just overall, I like Cars more. I like Kira definitely more. Kira's still my favorite, and I do like the boss more. Again, I can't think of his name. I can't think of it right now. Poochie, again I would put Poochie above Cars and Dio, but below the boss and Kira at the moment. So he's smack dab in the middle of the main villains. And so I'm going to wait to see where that goes, because that could change in the final batch as well. I I honestly doubt, though, that he'll surpass Kira. He might surpass the boss for me, but he will not surpass Kira. I definitely don't think so. It would surprise the shit out of me if he did. Kira is just almost kind of the perfect villain for me. Definitely one of my favorite villains in all of anime. Right up there with the likes of Light Yagami. And that's a huge compliment, because Light was a phenomenal villain. So that's saying something. But either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these final 2 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean Batch 2? And just as always, no spoilers for the future, because I'm mostly spoiler-free on this. There's like 1 or 2 things I might know, and it's just without context or anything as usual, so I just have a very vague bit of information on things. But let me know your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.